Good morning. I am Lama Jigme, and this is Enlightened Fitness, where first we'll commonly use high-intensity body weight interval training to cultivate the body of a tantric sex god, and then we'll use guided meditation to help us cultivate both the heart and the mind of a Buddha. Now, so as you can imagine, this is a two-part process: quick workout, quick guided meditation. In an ideal world, you do the workout once a day or twice a day, every day, and you would do the guided meditation once every morning and once every evening. Some people are super ambitious and they'll do the both every evening, and that's great. So if you're really serious about losing weight, I want to draw your attention, and of course if you're really serious about accomplishing the spiritual path, I want to draw your attention to the links below this video. About an inch or so below the video, you'll find a button that reads Show More. When you click that, it'll reveal a list of links as long as my arm. Those links will answer all your questions about nutrition, warming up, exercise, how to sit, how to count your finger creases, and most importantly, how to meditate. So if you have questions, which you probably will after today's lesson, make the most of the free resource available to you through the links. Today's guided meditation is only going to be 3 minutes long. I'm going to teach you a very specific technique. I call it the union of awareness and letting go. It's your cornerstone technique. I'm going to explain it in relative detail. Tomorrow, it's my intention to teach you another technique, and we'll just build on it until it becomes easier and easier for you to meditate productively for longer and longer lengths of time. This morning's workout is going to be approximately 8 minutes long. So let's get cracking. And of course, before we do, I encourage you to get your doctor's blessings before you start any workout program. The nutritional advice I offer to your links is actually books written by physicians. So you're in good hands with that. Let's see. In a nutshell, the nutrition paradigm that I endorse is the low-fat, low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. Can you become a member of the athletic elite eating that type of diet? Of course you can. Look at the gazelle, look at the gorilla, look at the elephant. Strength, power, endurance, speed. Some of the humanity's greatest athletes are on the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. So what I am endorsing you is simply a return to a natural paradigm that is very healing, that will increase your strength, endurance, longevity, beauty, lucidity, and all of the good stuff. So let's get cracking. And of course, today's workout is going to be supervised by Coach Kitty Cat. His wonderful feline eye, under the gaze of his watchful feline eye, when he's not bathing, of course. So we're going to warm up using 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-phase sun salutation. This is explained in greater detail when you use the links. One of the links will take you to a page on my website where you can download free practice materials. One of the materials you can download is the latest set of latest free version of the first set of lesson texts At the conclusion of every lesson is a set of 3 recitations and a whole bunch of links, and those links will take you to the page that describes how to do both Indian-inspired as well as Vietnamese-inspired bows. So let's begin. Okay. We're going to perform 5 circuits. Each circuit is going to contain 4 exercises. These are all compound exercises that work multiple muscles. Now, there is an easier version and a more difficult version of each exercise I give you. That's why it's important, if this is your first time, to watch the squatting tutorial, the leg tutorial, the pressing tutorial, the core tutorial, and pulling tutorial. But I'm going to assume you've watched them all and you're raring to go. So let's jump in. First set of squats. First set of presses. First set of thrusts, similar to the squat thrust you were taught in high school or junior high. First set of chins. Second set of squats. Second set of presses. Second set of thrusts. Second set of chins. Third set of squats. Third set of press. Looks like Coach Kitty's had a nap. He's taking a nap. Third set of thrusts. Third set of chins. Fourth set of squats. Fourth set of press. Fourth set of thrusts. Fourth set of chins. Fifth and final set of squats. Fifth set of presses. 5th set of thrusts. Fifth and final set of chins. That completes this morning's high intensity body weight interval training. I'm now going to take a moment to move my yoga blanket. I prefer these to yoga mats. Number one, better for the environment. Number two, better for our health. They don't release toxic vapors. Number three, you can throw them in the washing machine. Before I proceed with the meditation instruction, I might take a moment to slather the cat with love. Oh, kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty cat cuteness is my drug of choice. Water, beverage of choice. Now, you're going to notice that I'm going to be playing with my fingers during the meditation. After meditation class, I invite you to look up the finger/crease counting tutorial in the links below the video. Woo! Okay, here we go. Please sit erect, and yes, there is a tutorial teaching you various ways of sitting. The trick is not to force your legs into a pretzel, but to find a position that's most suitable for where your body is at this time. Left hand in the lap, palms up. Right hand in the left, palms up. Contrary to popular opinion, do not touch the thumbs. That's just another example of how both Taoist and Hindu influences have corrupted Buddhism over the past 26 centuries. Does that mean Hinduism and Taoism are bad? No. It just means they're not what Buddha taught. I'm not going to teach you how to still your mind, for that is not what Buddha taught. It is natural for physical sensations, emotional sensations, sensory perceptions, memories, and fantasies to come cartwheeling through your mind. What you're going to learn in this morning's 3-minute set of exercises is what to do with those various perceptions, memories, or fantasies when they manifest. Some people say ignore them, some people say indulge them. Buddha took the middle ground, which is be aware of them and then find a clever way to let go of them. This set comes to us from the Anapana. I take this back. This set comes to us from the Satipatthana Sutta, that is embraced by Theravadan Buddhism. In Japan, they would call it Soto Zen. In Tibet, some would call it Dzogchen, and others would call it Mahamudra. But regardless of its name, a rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. Now, even though I said this is not about thought or emotion suppression, any time you sit in meditation using correct techniques, the longer you sit, the more calm your body and mind will be. So obviously, 30 minutes of sitting is more calming than 3 minutes, and 3 hours of sitting is more calming than 30 minutes. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to sit for 3 hours. But the longer you sit, the more calm your heart and mind will be. Likewise, the more frequently you sit. So the bare bones minimum is once every morning, once every evening. For example, 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the evening. We don't have to be rigid about that. We don't have to flail ourselves with the cat of 9 tails if we're 5 minutes or 45 minutes early or late. The thing is, try to do it twice a day. Now, in a perfect world, if you had a long enough lunch break, you'd squeeze in a little meditation there as well, maybe in your car. And what some people do on the weekends is they set aside 4 times a day to practice. For instance, 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and then 6 p.m. And because the meditations are relatively short, usually family members don't mind. Now, do you have to? No. It's just an interesting opportunity for you to play with the techniques you've already learned. 2 times a day is better than nothing. If you practice enthusiastically and skillfully twice a day, you can complete the entire path in 1 year. And remember, the path the Buddha offers us is not freedom from the presence of sufferings, but merely freedom from the tyranny of suffering. Sufferings are still there, but they no longer are our boss. They no longer control our choices, the way we communicate, or what we do. In other words, we won't act the fool. I'm reminded of the movie The Matrix. When Neo, I'm going to paraphrase, when Morpheus says to Neo, I can only show you what it is. So, that's what he does. He shows Neo what the Matrix is, and then he frees him from it. The Matrix still is an influence in his life. He's still running away from agents. And he's still trying to help out, rescue other people from the control of the Matrix. But it's no longer the direct boss of him. So that's what Buddha offers us, just like Morpheus offered to Neo. The opportunity to be freed from the tyranny of our sufferings, our impulses, and their causes. That doesn't mean we're going to get a lobotomy. We still are subject, we still can experience the full spectrum of human emotions. But what you'll learn is how to take whatever pain you feel, and use that to increase both your compassion and your wisdom, and take whatever love you experience, take whatever pleasure you experience, and use it to multiply your love and your wisdom. Having said that, let's begin our introduction to the Mahamudra, or the union of awareness and letting go. We're going to start with what I like to call contrived awareness. Now, on your in-breath, you're going to silently and mentally ask the question, what's seeing? And on the out-breath, you're going to silently and mentally intend, really seeing. Now let's explore it for a second. What singing is obviously poor grammar. It would be much better grammar to ask, what are some of the things, what are some of the sights I am now experiencing? But those words require a lot of breath, and we do not wish to turn red, tip over, wiggle funny, and scare the poor cat. So we're going to use poor grammar and an economy of syllables. So in the in-breath we're going to ask, what's seeing, even though our eyes are going to be closed. If you've ever, as a kid in the back seat of the car when you were bored on long trips, have you ever closed your eyes and played with your fingertips on your eyelids, you saw all kinds of weird geometric patterns. So you know, both from your experience of dreaming as an adult or your experience of playing with your eyes as a kid, that the brain can produce all kinds of images even when the eyes are closed. Having said that, we'll now explore this. Why are we asking a question? Why not just make a statement? I can see things. Well, we're not using affirmations, because affirmations are lies you tell yourself about a feature that hasn't manifested yet. For instance, I am wealthy and well-loved. Well, if you're poor and friendless, that's just a big fat lie. And parts of your brain can simply not be fooled, no matter how enthusiastically or frequently you recite the lines. So rather than using lies, I'm going to teach you how to use assumptive, well-worded, rhetorical questions. They're assumptive because each question has at least one assumption. For instance, what's seeing has the assumption A, you have the capacity to perceive visual phenomena. B, you have the ability to be aware of what visual images are dancing or cartwheeling through your mind. Our minds respond to questions. When I was a kid experiencing my first bout of unrequited love in 6th grade, I'd come home and dramatically ask in a tearful voice, why, oh why doesn't Terry Fink love me? And every time I asked that question, my inner mind was delighted to answer, well, the reason she doesn't love you are, you have weird hair, your mother dresses you funny. And my inner mind was happy to kick out rational answers, correct answers, incorrect answers, and even irrational answers. There's a part of our mind that just loves answering questions. And every time it answers a question, it accepts the premise of the question. So every time my brain spat out a reason why Terry Fink didn't love me, it further accepted the idea that Terry Fink didn't love me. Don't worry, Terry Fink was a nice girl. It wasn't her fault. I was the class creep. I was so enthusiastic in science class that if I couldn't get things, I'd cry. What a mook. Anyway. But the same thing works, so we're going to use our mind's propensity to accept the assumptions of well-worded questions by using questions. Now these questions are rhetorical, and what that means is that there's two types of questions. You have your hard-ass questions and your lazy bastard questions. Your hard-ass questions, well, they want an answer. Your lazy bastard questions don't require a question. They're rhetorical. And these rhetorical questions are the most effective when we don't try to answer them. On the in-breath, we just silently and mentally recite the question one time. On the out-breath, we just relax. So let's talk about relaxing. Did you know that we are hardwired so that during every in-breath, whether we know it or not, whether we feel it or not, we tighten up even a little bit? Well, that corresponds to the spiritual practice of tightening our attention, concentrating, or simply noticing. On every out-breath, whether we know it or not, whether we feel it or not, we have the tendency to relax, even just a little bit. And that relaxation corresponds to the spiritual practice of letting go, of releasing, of relinquishing our grasp upon things. So latent within every in-breath and every out-breath is arguably the essence of the path. And so rather than contrive and force our brains and our bodies to do things they weren't designed to do, my intention with you is to help you use your mind, use your in-breath and use your out-breath in a way that they were designed to be used to rapidly liberate you from the tyranny of sufferings and their causes. So after the in-breath and after mentally reciting what's seeing, on the out-breath you silently, mentally recite the intention, releasing. Release, I just broke it down into syllables for you. Your body already wants to release. Sometimes it'll be easy to feel the release, other times it'll be difficult. Here's a quick tip. Our ability to feel the release is directly proportional to the quality of breath. So if we take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out, our experience of releasing will be more profound. So here we go. On the in-breath, what's seeing? On the out-breath, releasing. Second exercise. On the in-breath, we ask, what hearing? On the out-breath, we intend releasing. And now, what feeling on the in-breath, releasing on the out-breath. Some people ask me, hey, Lama Jigme, you guys talk about feeling. Do you mean physical sensations or emotional sensations? And the answer is yes. Both. Okay, so we are 1/3 of the way complete. The fourth exercise is profoundly powerful. In the Anapanasati Sutta, we are introduced to the 7 enlightenment factors. The fourth factor is joy. The fourth and fifth set of exercises are integral to both helping us cultivate the physical as well as psychological causes of joy. And they help us not to make the newbie mistake of taking ourselves far too seriously. There are more nuns and monks than there are Buddhas. Most nuns and monks don't make it to nirvana in one life. Why? Because they're using stuff that just doesn't work. What we're supposed to do is take action and notice our results, and then take new action based on whether the results we received are good and bad. But sadly, many people just practice blindly with ever evaluating their results. And they'll spend a lifetime performing techniques incorrectly, or performing techniques that just don't work, because they never had the courage to evaluate the results and consider taking different actions. Many of those nuns and monks photographed are grim-faced. They look miserable. They don't look like they're experiencing the enlightening factor of joy or love. And you know what? Who can blame them? It's no fun being miserable. So these next techniques, while you may not be familiar with them, are very useful. This next technique helps us not to take ourselves too seriously, which is very easy to do. On the in-breath, we're going to ask, how could this? And on the out-breath, we're going to continue the question, be funny. So the full question is, how could this be funny? Well, we're dividing it in half. Of course, we're still relaxing during the out-breath. And that's great. This works on frivolous things and serious things. This works on people suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. This has worked on abuse survivors and rape survivors. All of us have seen television. All of us have seen movies. All of us have seen comedies. All of us have seen cartoons. And so, if we feed the computer of our creative mind the question, how could this be funny, on some level, it'll start, spitting out answers. That might not make our past go away, but it could help our present to be even more palatable. How could this be funny? Our second joy-inducing exercise is simply we have a choice. It's either grin with lips, releasing, or grin with cheeks, releasing, or grin with eyes, releasing. We're going to play with all three. Let's start with the first one. Grin with lips, releasing. It doesn't have to be a scary, painted clown grin. It can be something as subtle as the Mona Lisa. Grin with lips on the in-breath, releasing on the out-breath. Did you know that the brain demonstrates neuroplasticity? The more we do something, the easier it is to do that thing. The more we type, the easier it is to type. The more we smile, the easier it is to smile. The more we look for humor, the easier it is to find humor. The more we choose to notice, the easier it is to notice. The more we choose to release, the easier it is to release. So we are capitalizing on this right now. There is a prayer that we'll recite at the end, not really a prayer, more of a recitation that goes along like this. It mentions the spontaneous, habitual, easy, and effective mastery of Buddha's mental yogas of wisdom, peace, love, and joy. See, let's pretend there are three categories of living beings: Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and boobs. We've all been boobs. We've all been just like Homer Simpson at one time or another. You know Homer Simpson, if he sees a donut, he grabs it without thinking. If he's angry at his son Bart, he throttles him without thinking. Complete slavery to his impulses. That's Homer Simpson, and each of us have had numerous Homer Simpson moments. Then what's a bodhisattva? Bodhisattva is any man or woman that says, listen, I don't want to be Homer Simpson anymore. I don't want to be a slave to my impulses anymore. So I choose to learn all of Buddha's techniques that I can, and to practice all of Buddha's techniques that I can, so I can rebel against the tyranny of my impulses and their causes. Bravo. Well, if that's a bodhisattva, then what's a Buddha? A Buddha is simply a bodhisattva who's gotten so good at Buddha's mental yogas, and all of his 84,000 teachings can be organized under the headings of wisdom, peace, love, and joy. So a bodhisattva has gotten so good at these techniques, he's mastered them to such a degree, that he's able to practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, here's the best part, effectively. That's the mastery that we're shooting for. It's available to us in a remarkably short period of time. Grin with cheeks, releasing. And lastly, grin with eyes, releasing. That doesn't mean your eyes are going to turn to smiley faces. That's just grotesque. What it means is that we'll form the little crow's eye wrinkles on the outer corner of each eye. One of my teachers once said, a smile is not a smile as it affects your lips and your cheeks and your eyes. Grin with eyes, releasing. So far, all these exercises have been contrived. We have the 3 contrived sensory exercises of what seeing, releasing, what hearing, releasing, and what feeling, releasing. Then we super contrived our sense of humor as well as our face. And now we're going to bravely step through the doorway that takes us from the realm of contrivance to the realm of spontaneity. And here's the question we're going to play with. The question infers, what are some of the things I am now noticing? That's too many syllables. So we're just going to use the word noticing with a question mark, inferred. Noticing on the in-breath, relaxing on the out-breath. This is the change. Instead of saying releasing, we're saying relaxing. So noticing infers that whatever's cartwheeling through our mind, whatever memory, whatever fantasy, whatever circumstance, whatever emotion, whatever thought, whatever sensation, whatever pleasure, whatever pain, even if it's J. Edgar Hoover in a dress, whatever it is that's cartwheeling through our body or our mind, we're going to notice it and intend to relax before it. Offer no resistance. I'm reminded of the Tai Chi masters of China. When people tried punching them, they said it was like trying to punch a bale of hay. Or I should say a pile of hay. It just absorbed the punch with no damage. One time, many, many decades ago, I was working as a telephone salesman, and I kept getting my feelings hurt. And so I asked my boss, who was a seasoned pro, a wonderful guy named Mark. I said, Mark, how do you deflect the insults the way Superman's chest deflects bullets? And he said in a wonderful voice, the trick is not to deflect them. The trick is to let them pass through you. That, of course, reminds me of a wonderful quote I'm going to horribly paraphrase from the novel Dune, by Frank Herbert. I must not fear. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. I will face my fear. I will let it pass through me and around me. And will turn to see that my fear has gone and only I remain. Now, obviously he wasn't Buddha, but it was still a wonderful phrase. So that's the idea too. We're just going to be completely vulnerable to whatever experience comes our way in the present moment. Whether it's a purring cat rubbing up against us, or the local drunk come to kick us in the shins. Whatever it is, we're going to be aware of it and relax. In Tibet, this is known as naked awareness. Noticing, relaxing. Well, we've gotten 2/3 through this morning's 9 breath cycle. Let's conclude with the final, 27 breath cycle. We've gotten 2/3 of the way through it, or 18 breaths. We've got 9 breaths left. So we've already learned noticing, relaxing. Now we're going to reduce it to the one-syllable paradigm. We're going to replace the word noticing with the word this, the great pronoun that can be affixed to anything we experience. And we're going to replace the word relaxing with the one-syllable word ease. If you're old like me, you remember the Eagles song, I got a peaceful, easy feeling. And it's the ease of letting go. So this on the in-breath, ease on the out-breath. Let's play with this now for the remaining 9 breaths of the sequence. Now you might notice that I breathe quicker than you, and that's because I'm doing all this jibber-jabbering. Now you might have trouble counting to 9 or to 3. That's why I have a separate video teaching you how to count your creases. You see, in both Hindu and Buddhist mala, or rosary, we have 108 beads, separated either by 1 or 4 spacers. 108 beads divided by 4 is 27. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. Each finger has 3 creases. 3 fingers is 9. 3 sets of 9 is 27. That's how we count it. So let's review what we've already learned. We learned the first 3 breaths were what's-a-ying, releasing, the next 3 breaths were what-hearing, releasing. The next 3 breaths were what feeling, releasing. The next 3 breaths, and by the way, that so far we've completed our first set of 9 breaths. Our next set of 3 breaths were, how could this be funny? Our next 1 breath was grin with lips, releasing. Our next single breath was grin with cheeks, releasing. Our next single breath was grin with eyes, releasing. Our next set of 3 breaths was noticing, relaxing. Our final 9 breaths were simply this ease. And there you have it. This morning's 3-minute meditation, repeated twice. So, if I was you, and obviously I'm not, but if I was you and I was super enthusiastic, I'd go back with a pen and a piece of paper and I would jot down just the contemplative notation. That way instead of listening to this 20 or 30-minute video twice a day, which could get bothersome, you could just follow along with the contemplative notation, which works really well. Now, I invite you to join me for a gentle set of geriatric yoga that the Gaelic sect in Tibet refers to as untying the heart's knots. First, play with the cat. Oh, I may slave to his cuteness, I tell you. Okay. That's just the way he wants it. Okay, so sit erect, lace the hands behind your tush. Open your chest and twist to the left. Why give wise, releasing? Please reverse. Now to each, give wisdom. Back to center, release the hands, join them in the lap, swing the hands out and overhead. Please bend to the left. Now to each, let's say, why give peace, releasing. Please reverse. Now to each, give great peace. Back to center. Let's make our way into downward facing fetal position, which is also known as child's pose. Give to each, love for all. Please curl your hands in the fists. Place your knuckles of your fists upon your yoga blanket, just above your knees, as if you're going to jab or punch. Please stridently straighten your arms and ride the momentum into the sitting samurai posture, which is also known as lion's pose. Please lace your hands behind your tuchus. Open your chest, drop your head, roll your gaze up. What's seeing? Releasing. What hearing? Releasing. What feeling? Releasing. Please release your hands. Please cup your palms and gently press your hands together so that the center of each palm is hovering before the upper third of your chest. Please adjust your posture, relax your shoulders down, use your hands to twist to the left. Why give joy? Releasing. back to center, relax your shoulders down, use the hands to twist to the right. Now to each, give great joy. Back to center. Please walk your hands out to the hands and knees position in preparation for the cat-cow asana. Open mouth, slack jaw. Now to each, give comfort. Please stand up. Place the majority of your weight on your major and minor balls of each foot right behind the big and little toe. That's right. Heels off the yoga blanket. Central bend in the knees, hips thrust forward, hands laced behind the tush, chest open, head down, roll the gaze up. How could this be funny? Okay, I invite you now to join me in 2 repetitions of 2 different bows. While I'm performing these bows, I'm going to be performing the 3 recitations that are found at the conclusion of every one of the lessons that you can download for free using the links I already mentioned, called the first set of lesson texts. Look for the link that says class materials. That'll take you to the web page. Okay, here we go. Let's start with 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-phase sun salutation. May I always be cared for. Whoopsie, wrong one. Let's try that again. Here we go. By this virtue may I now accomplish the spontaneous, habitual, easy, and effective mastery of Buddha's mental yogas, of wisdom, peace, love, and joy, and now lead every living being, without exception, to this ground. May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish and then not many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. Let us now conclude with 2 repetitions of Vietnamese-inspired bows. May I always be cared for throughout all my lives by the Buddha of compassion emanating as my kind teacher. And as such may I always enthusiastically and joyfully tread this excellent path raised by the conquerors. Well, my friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Before you go, I invite you to click the subscribe button, as well as the like button and the share button. Do you remember those links I told you about below the video? One of those, you could use one of those links to help keep this monk fed, which would be lovely, but it's not mandatory. After all, the most important thing is that you simply apply the instructions. There's also a link that you could use to help you to register for the next series of live weekly webinars. When do they begin? Monday, the 6th of May. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.